you look at this, okay. So the vision, if you see, right, it is about achieving the sustainable, sorry, sustainable future. So I make it simple. Okay, I don't want to elaborate. So if you take Tesla, this is the end goal that they want to achieve. That's a vision, right? So now, how did they started? Okay, first step that they took is creating high performance car in EV segment, which is viable and which is called as Roadster, isn't it? This is the first car with the release, right? So what happened next?
After the success of this product, so they have started building different multiple products that will appeal a different segment of the market, like depending upon the customer's budget, they have different vehicle.
Yeah, so then he brought in affordability. Right? So they moved to mass market. This is what happened in the next stage, right? So they made Model S, Model Y. So these are the cars which are pulled out, right? So Roadster is niche, maybe ultra niche, right? At least this is the kind of niche and where there is some sort of affordability. Okay. And what is the third thing?
Then he
Scale of
developed
production, right?
scale of production, yeah.
So scale of production where he made something like Gigafactory. And at some point he announced that, okay, we will not have any people working in this factory and everything will by robo, right? AI control. Right? This was the statement, but later he retracted from this and he went back to having people resources. But actually, this was the idea when he started this factory, where everything is made by robots. Okay. So then what he did is he introduced solar energy, roof panels, okay, walls, solar walls, something like this, right? So he came into uh, where he can actually create a sustainability, right? So the whole idea is about to have sustainability, right? So sustainability, he started from the transportation and he created the affordability and he scaled and now he is coming to the actual thing, which is nothing but sustenance. How to make the sustainable things, right? And then he expanded self-driving. Now he is selling like self-driving cars. So these are the milestones. If you see, right, it happened in last 15 years probably. Didn't happen like in a year or two. Okay. So what is next? If you look at this, right, let's continue on the Tesla part. So what he did, three things which are, I'm sorry, the three things that he did wonderful is vertical integration. That means the batteries that he is making, right? So these batteries are designed ground up, right? So which made it cheaper, right? In the process, he made a lot of IPs, intellectual properties, patents, right? And you know the second thing what he did, he opened up all the patents. Why?
Because if the patents are open, people are there is a more chance of innovation happening.
Yes. So there is a more chance of adopting it, right? So EV will be adopted in a large scale. The more manufacturers are there, the more customer will accept that, and the more charging stations will come. The ecosystem will be built. He cannot run everything alone. You understand this point? So suppose Tesla has built a super duper called Roadster, and he has to maintain 1 million plus charging stations. Don't you think so? Across the world, or he need to constrain into a small place. Like I will be only in California. Outside this, I don't have service. But now, if you see, by making these patents open, so what is the thing happen? So a lot of manufacturers have turned into EV, and this became affordable, and that led to lot of charging stations, which is compatible with Tesla. Now he is able to scale, right? So that is the thing. So you need to see the problem and then how that is solved, right? So if Roadster was only looking at the battery patents and I have patents, after 10 years I'll open up. Anyway, it will go stale and let me wait and all. He has not done anything like that. He opened up and he encouraged innovation in that respect because he wanted in general sustainability uh, to be a thing to grow, which will build an ecosystem, which will make uh, everybody happy, right? So even his business will be happy when it grows. And the third thing is software updates, AI, and all that. Right? The last thing, right? The self-driving cars. So today we are talking about self-driving cars, but we are not confident on that. So very few are happening. But this could be in future. It could be a thing which is common. The more acceptance is there, it will become common, right? So this is how it looks like. So in order to build a product or go to strategy, so first we need to start with MVP, minimum viable product, right? So anything starts from X place, right? So that's where the MVP comes into picture. Either a feature or anything evolves from a starting point, and that will be minimum viable product. Okay. So if you look at the strategy of Reliance, I'm not sure if Sandy know this, but yeah, in India we have a product, a company called as Reliance, where this disrupted the market, and how they did that is explained over here. Okay, so let me make a slideshow of this. So first thing in 2019, 18 sometime, 1920 or sometime. So what they did is they marked it as a free data. Okay. So that means internet is free. Okay. So this disrupted the whole telecom market where we were purchasing um, internet for at least $5 to $10 per month. Okay. If you want a reliable net, right? So, but Reliance Jio came in and he said like, okay, I'm going to make it completely free for 6 months. Okay. So people really took that and they enjoyed it and they continued it. And after 6 months, he started charging them. And the strategy which they had is affordable pricing bundling with Geo apps. Now he has Geo Cinema, Geo Music, Geo Cloud, right? So which is a lot of entertainment. So the monetization start with the free data where maybe he is losing about 600 rupees, but he's monetizing on cinemas and music and cloud subscriptions. Right? So this is the next stage. Phase one, he never talked about what he's introducing next, right? It is one step at a time. He he gave a free data and then he introduced products and then he expanded into 5G payments. He made partnerships with WhatsApp, and he made partnerships um, with Facebook.
Facebook.
With Facebook, right? So that's how it happened. So if you see the long-term vision, which has helped him, right? So basically, he didn't wanted to compete with the data providers. That's not where he's competing actually. He disrupted that market for a reason, right? So the reason is to have internet accessible with everybody, so that he can provide services on top of it. So this is the really good thing that he has done. So MVP strategy for product validation is about having an example like Airbnb, right? So they listed in Craigslist, right? So you have simplified product, okay, and the goal where you want to achieve, where you want to reach, and the MVP framework: build, measure, learn. So this is the process, right? So where you initially come up with a small feature or small product, and see that you evolve by time. So you understand the behavior, you learn through the process, and then you add features to it. So any product strategy starts from minimum viable product. Okay, so kind of a proof of concept, something that you can show to the customer and talk and understand if he likes it or doesn't like it, is he willing to pay money or not? Will he recommend to somebody? Does it resonate with what you are talking about? So all this understanding will come from the minimum viable product. Okay, so then you measure what you have built, saying that okay, how many people are using it, how many people are engaging it, what is happening with this feature, whether customer is asking for more of this kind of feature, or what is happening there, right? So that is what you are going to understand, and then you have your own lessons learned by introducing that feature, and you change that. Is this clear? Let's look into Zomato. Uh, so Zomato started as a foodie bay, right? So which is an aggregator of restaurants. They never sold food. They were, if you look at the old Zomato, right? What was it? It was aggregator of restaurants to find out where is the restaurant, what kind of restaurants are there, and what is the second phase? What they added? Booking tables, isn't it? Have you followed Zomato from the beginning? So this is how they started, right? So where they started with restaurant aggregator, and then they became a platform to book tables in restaurant, and now they are actually serving customers at their home the food that is as a delivery partner. They are working and they are taking commissions from there. They are on board. They have possibly all the restaurants which are there in the market are onboarded to this platform, and they are now serving as a food delivery platform, right? But if you take the approach was not like the day one, they were not delivery guys. There were not people who are delivering food. It all started as a aggregator, and there were a whole set of different services.
I think in an
Like
initial phase, I think the thought was to just to have a menu card viewed on
yes,
online,
yes,
because at that time the problem was the people were not able to get the menu card, and there was only one menu card at the counter, the reception desk, and it was quite difficult to figure out what to order. And by the time your turns come, you have already spent half an hour for that.
yes,
Correct.
that's true.
This was the yeah.
Yeah. So that's where they got introduced to the ecosystem of restaurants. They got familiar with them, right? So restaurants started trusting them. So then they added step by step. What they are today is because of their deep understanding with the problems that are faced in restaurant, where they started with the MVP, where possibly it is maybe an online menu that they are showing, a kind of an aggregator where customers are happily looking into the menus that are available in that restaurant, right? So, okay, now if I come to the app and I see that, okay, this restaurant is there, I don't come to see like the restaurant name and location, right? So I come to see what is there in that restaurant, right? So that is sorted out, and then after that, the step by step progress. And you see that most of the revenue for Zomato is not coming from the Zomato itself, but it is coming from Hyperpure. If you have known this product, there is a product called as Hyperpure, which is actually giving the restaurants what they want as a raw material to cook, right? So that's a B2B segment where he is actually giving the raw material like dal, rice, all the condiments and all that, right? So that's what they are giving, he is providing to them. Okay. And that business has made 800 crore revenue. in the last year, which is double the amount which to the previous year, which is about 400 crores. Right? You see, the pain points when they understand, they get introduced to the customer, and the more they understand the problems, the more they build the products, right? And that product should will be accepted. So, but first thing is you introduce that basic product that where you get a touch point with the customer to understand him better. So that is what is the minimum viable product that you are talking about. To understand the customer better, you start with MVP. Okay, so where with a minimal cost, you at least get into the customer's shoes and you try to understand him through your analytics or through the direct interactions, the user interviews, all that is happening. So with that, you'll understand it, right?
But
So
just to
yeah,
interrupt you,
yeah.
this is for the new product if you're developing. How things work when we want to integrate something in the existing product, or we have to add a new feature, or we are just building a new, what we can say, new department, entire new different innovation department, like different product.
Right. So
Well,
product, like we don't build products, we solve problems. Okay. So product comes as a part of solution. Okay. So there is a famous saying that customer doesn't need uh, a drill machine. Customer needs a 2-inch hole, right? The drilling machine was innovated because the requirement was to drill 2-inch hole, right? So the product is not coming at the first place. The problem is coming at the first place, right? So now you think about it and you tell me like how will the new product or new feature will be evolving. That comes from the understanding of the requirement, the problem, the pain points, right? So that is how the new department or new products are getting built. If they are not falling into whatever products that you are building, you have in your own ecosystem, there are set of products. If the new problem which is coming is not fitting into this bucket, then you are going to introduce a new product. And it sometimes depends on the strategy also, right? So if I say, for an example, let's take an example of um, Netflix. Okay. So Netflix doesn't have a way a user can comment, right? A user can interact with that content. He can rate it or something like that, right? So they don't have that mechanism, right? So it's all AI built and they know the customers better, how much they're watched and all that, how much they are engaging with any film, and their recommendation engine works in a different way, right? Suppose they feel like they wanted to address a pain point where um, customer is inquisitive about having this kind of environment where they're having a social interaction with the movies and all that, and they see an opportunity to earn money at that point of time. They don't introduce that into the core product, which is Netflix, because they wanted to have it as a content delivery platform, not like a social platform. At point of time, if this is a major pain point where people are feeling like I don't get a platform to talk about it. Suppose you watched a movie, okay, you want to talk about it. Where will you talk? The next day you go to lunch and you have 4 people sitting next to each other and you start telling all the story that you have seen in the night, right? So that's basically your enthusiasm to share something you have what you have watched and all that, right? So like this is a real scenario. Like people wanted to be socially appreciated and all that, right? So if they see this as a bigger problem where there is an opportunity, they can create a separate product, isn't it? So if you see LinkedIn, right? So in LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a platform, right? It's a professional platform, right? If you see a product inside that, which is called a sales navigator, okay, they saw an opportunity with a lot of data that we have where people want to sell something, right? They are looking for particular persona of people, right? And this can be sold as a service. Then they introduced a product called as sales navigator, where they are going to sell this product, where you have all the information that is required and you have a platform. So this is a new product called sales navigator, which will help people who wants to get in touch with like-minded people or business business perspective customers and all that, right? So that is how new products comes into picture. Is this clear?
Yes.
So steps to build a MVP is about identifying a problem. So products doesn't come by itself. It's actually comes by problem, right? So what is the problem that you are addressing, and can it turn into a product? Okay, that's how it starts, and then you define a solution, an outline, simple solution, and you build a prototype. You test a prototype, and you gather feedback. So this is how a simple MVP is built. So when you want to build anything, right? There are two ways of doing it. One is you set a deadline and you work backward. Okay, or you have a list of things that you want to deliver and you start rolling out. Okay, so which one will be better, to have all the list of things that you want to deliver, or to have a set a date and do a backward planning? Which one is best?
It's so difficult to say, depending upon context. But usually, if I have something to plan, then I would like to go according to the phase by phase.
Okay.
But yeah, sometimes this might be delayed in some situation, or there can be some iteration coming in
Yes.
down the line.
Yes. So if you start, if you don't have a deadline, right, Rohit? So you say like by July 1st, I'm going to release this app, suppose. Okay. If you don't have that deadline, what will happen? The scope creep will happen. You think like possibly customer might like this. Let's add this. Okay. Postpone the release to month. Possibly this will make him more happy. Okay. Let's postpone the things. So that's not how it should happen. Okay. Minimum viable product, it should have a kind of a deadline saying that, okay, my first MVP go and hit the market at this point with these features. Okay. And then you also see that, okay, if it is not hitting the market at that point of time, see what can be cut, right? Where you can do the trimming of the features, but the date is fixed. You have to hit the market. Okay. So that's where the backward planning will be really helpful when it comes to minimum viable products. Otherwise, these are products which are in new phase, and you have a lot of innovation coming in. Everybody is coming up with a new idea, new feature. So there is obvious thing that the scope creeping will happen, and you don't know whether those ideas are going to be really liked by the customer, right? You don't know that. So that's why it's really good if you can do a backward planning. You said like, okay, in another 2 weeks, I want to do a demo. That's the minimum viable product, right? So in another 3 weeks, I want to release this feature, right? So then you do a backward planning and you see that what and all things you can do trimming, and what is the minimum thing that you can ship at that point of time. That is one way of doing MVP.
Like, because just to add my insights on this, because I have worked in a core startup company where everything, like, this is stream. We had to go on this date, and the backlash used to come across to us. That was huge, because company business stakeholders have taken a decision that we will be going live by this date, X date. But the rest of the things were falling apart for us. What was very difficult. Customer
It's very
expectation is
difficult.
very, yeah. Customer
That's where
expectation is very
you
high.
that's where there is something called as growth mindset. Okay, and that's where and there are two things. Okay, I'll explain these two things and I'll move on to next thing. So these two things are, first thing is growth mindset. Are you better than yourself from the previous release? Okay, are you serving your customer better? Okay, customer can never be made satisfied. He will have hundreds of requests. Okay, and if you want to satisfy him, you can never make a release. You want to make a perfect release, you can never make a release. So if the build is better than the last build, that's perfect. Okay, you take this, use it. I'm coming back. Okay, give me some time. Like that should be your attitude. Always you should manage your customer, because his wish list will never end, and he doesn't know what is priority also. Right? For him, everything is priority. Right? But you should see like which is the high impact one, and you take that and you implement that. Okay, and ask the customer to hold on. Wait, I'm coming back. Okay. So that's the one thing. And the second thing is, I lost in flow of thought. First thing is this one, and the second thing is okay, the time, right? So the more the time you keep the software with you, it will become buggy and it will become outdated, right? So the person who has worked on that, if suppose there is a release after 1 month, the person who has worked on that is still there. If suppose the product which you are building is releasing after 1 year, the person who has worked on that is already left. And when a defect comes, who is going to fix it? The person who is going to fix it is going to have introduced more defects. So that's why you should not have anything which is unreleased more than a month, right? Release it. So whatever you have, make a quick release, so that you understand what are the pain points and what is, if it is meaningful implementation or not. You will have customer insights, plus you will have your tech debts in check, right? So otherwise your tech debt will blow like anything, right? So after 1 year you are releasing something, and customer may like it, may not like it. It's out of fashion at that point of time, or it is not in trend, or he doesn't want that feature at all. So that's why you always should ask, like if at all you join any company and you are a product owner, product manager, you should always have smaller cycles. Every week, every 2 weeks, you should ship the product feature. If it is a complex product, it has so many integrations and all that, at least in a month. In a month, you should have an update as update should go out. Okay. There will be so many parallel tracks which will be happening, right? But that is not the concern. So you should have an update at least in a month. Okay. If not 3 months, but not like 1 year, I'm going to develop this and let me release after 1 year. No. So in a very complex situations, you should spend a lot of time in creating pipelines, CI/CDs and all that, so that you have that quick release time. Because normally what happens, the testing team will say like, I need 2 days to test it. You need to look at the opportunity to automate. So a lot of things should happen there, where you look at the processes and see where there is a bottleneck to release faster, and you cut down on that. You take actions to improve that. Okay. So if somebody is asking for 2 days of testing, then you still like, okay, let's try to automate it and let's bring it down to 1 day in the first year. It cannot happen in a day or two, right? It will happen in 6 months to 1 year. You should give the testing people a target that, okay, fine. Now in next 1 year, I'm trying to release in 29 days rather 28 or rather 30 days, right? So that should be the way you should be working with. So just some practical insights.